Python tutorial, dispersion measures. Descriptive statistics consist of quantitative or qualitative data population or sample frequency distribution, central tendency measures, dispersion measures, association measures, and frequency distribution shape. This topic is part of Business Statistics with Python course. Feel free to take a look at course curriculum by clicking link at description box below. This tutorial has an educational and informational purpose and doesn't constitute any type of forecasting, business, trading, or investment advice. Please read full tutorial disclaimer at the end of this video. Dispersion measures consist of data population or sample variability. Main dispersion measures are standard deviation, variance, and average deviation or mean absolute deviation. Standard deviation consists of square root of average data population or sample square dispersion. As a formula, to the left we have the population standard deviation with the Greek letter sigma, which is equal to the square root of 1 divided by n, that's the number of observations within the population, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the differences between the data within the population minus its arithmetic mean with the Greek letter mu, and that result to the power of 2. To the right we have the sample standard deviation, which is equal to the square root of 1 divided by n, number of observations within the sample, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the differences between the data within the sample minus its arithmetic mean, and that result to the power of 2. Variance consists of average data population or sample square dispersion. As a formula, to the left we have the population variance with sigma squared, which is equal to 1 divided by n, number of observations within the population, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the differences between the data within the population minus its arithmetic mean, and that result to the power of 2. To the right we have the sample variance, which is equal to 1 divided by the number of observations, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the differences between the data within the sample minus its arithmetic mean, and that result to the power of 2. Mean absolute deviation or average deviation consists of average data population or sample absolute dispersion. As a formula, to the left we have the population average deviation, which is equal to 1 divided by n, number of observations within the population, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the absolute value of the differences between the data within the population minus its arithmetic mean. To the right we have the sample average deviation, which is equal to 1 divided by n, number of observations within the sample, multiplied by the sum from the first to the last of the absolute value of the differences between the data within the sample minus its arithmetic mean. Great. So let's go into Python PyCharm IDE so that we can study dispersion measures with greater detail. Perfect. So here we are in Python PyCharm IDE. So for this tutorial, we'll be working within Python tutorial dispersion measures code file. So the first step within this tutorial is to do packages importing. So we are going to import numpy as MP and then pandas as PD. The following step is we are going to create a dispersion measures data, and this is going to be done through data reading. So for this, we're going to create the object named SPY, which is equal to PD or pandas.read_CSV, and within it we have the path data file. As we can see, it's located within data directory, and it's named dispersion measures data as a plain text file with .csv or comma separated values. Index column as date, and we parse those dates as true. So let's go ahead and check that data by double-clicking on the file. So as we can see, we have a plain text file with .csv or separated values. We have two columns of data. The first of this has dates, as we can see, with a daily frequency from the beginning of 2007 all the way to the end of 2015, therefore 9 years of data. And the second column with SPY adjusted. SPY corresponds to the ETF investment vehicle, which intends to replicate the Standard & Poor's 500 index, and adjusted because this includes adjusted close prices, which were adjusted for dividends and splits. So back into the code file, the following step is we're going to calculate the daily returns of those SPY adjusted close prices. Specifically, we're going to calculate the daily arithmetic returns. So we create this object named rSPY, which is equal to spy.pct underscore change or percentage change for those daily arithmetic returns, and one period, in this case with daily data, as mentioned previously, daily arithmetic returns. We rename its columns with rspy.columns equals to, and within brackets we have the name of the object as rspy. So now that we have the data ready, we can continue with the dispersion measures calculation. We're going to calculate sample standard deviation, sample variance, and sample mean absolute deviation. So we're going to print, as we can see with the title, dispersion measures, blank space, and we're going to print sample standard deviation, sample variance, sample mean absolute deviation. In all cases, we are going to print the result with numpy rounded for 6 decimal places. For the calculation of the standard deviation, we do so, as we can see here, with rspy.std, open and close parentheses. Then we have for variance rspy.var, open and close parentheses. And last, for mean absolute deviation, we have rspy.mad, open and close parentheses. Excellent. So let's go ahead and run this code file. When we're doing it for the first time, we need to click the right button on the mouse and scroll down into the code file name to run it. But as I've done it already before recording this video tutorial, its name's already stored here, Python tutorial dispersion measures. So I go ahead, select it, and then just click run. Excellent. So we see that it opened the running console. Within it, we have dispersion measures title being printed. Below, we have sample standard deviation with its corresponding result, sample variance calculation with its corresponding result, and last, sample mean absolute deviation with its corresponding result. Perfect. So now that we finished studying dispersion measures calculation through sample standard deviation, sample variance, and sample mean absolute deviation, we can go back into the slides. And as mentioned previously, this tutorial has an educational and informational purpose and doesn't constitute any type of forecasting, business, trading, or investment advice. Please pause the video now so you can read the full tutorial disclaimer. Okay, so with this, we finished this tutorial. Thank you for watching.